Seyda Zainab, a working-class neighbourhood close to the city centre. It's here that a group of street children call home.
Hey, how are you today? Thank God all is well.
Behind these playful smiles, each child bears a difficult history.
I've been on the street a long time. Since I was little, in fact, as my father and mother are dead. I'm waiting for my brother to get out of prison.
For me, I just couldn't take it anymore. I had too many problems with my family.
Cover your feet. They'll bring shame on us.
Privately, they tell one another tales of their day, forging a new kind of family.
All day we hunt for cigarettes and hashish. Afterwards we come back here because it's a place where we feel at home. We love our brothers, and Shaima is a mother to all of us. Shaima loves us. Yesterday some guys came and hit Wahid. Shaima defended him and hit them back. She defended all of us.
This is Shaima. In Egypt, 30% of street children are girls. Shaima is now the leader of the gang.
Shaima always takes our money. She says we have to bring her at least £20 every day.
Come on, we're going out.
It's often difficult to approach street children. Shaima was the only one who let us film without asking for money. Although she's now 24, Shaima remains a child of the street, who was raised amid violence.
My uncle killed my mother. Then my father tortured me to get the inheritance from my mother until I left home. I was 6 years old. I settled on the street. I became a street kid, and like the others, I took drugs. There was nothing good for us on the street. You there, what do you want? It's chaos, and the police arrest us. We self-harm, we take drugs. You stay on the street as if you were dead or in prison.
To survive, Shaima juggles odd jobs. Working here as a parking attendant brings her a few coins and occasionally allows her to rent a small room. Until now, it's been here that she sleeps, along with her gang. But now the building's guards won't let them in.
This place isn't fit for human habitation, that's all. It's become a drug den or a place for adultery, where there's homosexual activity. It's become a place of sin.
But who did that? Us? You think we did that?
I'm just speaking in a general sense.
Often stigmatized, street children don't have a good reputation in Egypt. Beaten by the gang leaders, they are abused with complete indifference, including insults, extortion, beatings, or rapes. They are also regularly accused of being thieves. Some of these children were born on the street. They are second or even third generation street children. Shaima herself already has a girl and a boy, who she eventually placed in foster care.
I didn't want my daughter to go through the same thing as I did. I don't want her to end up like me.
Shaima placed her daughter here in Banati, a hostel which opened in 2010. The organisation would not allow us to meet her daughter.
Come in.
In order to avoid disturbing the children, Banati refused to reveal their identities.
Go on, put your hands here, one after the other. These are all homeless children. They come from families who live on the streets, and they're with us because here we can protect them. We try to reintegrate them, to take them to school so they have a normal life, one just like any other child their age.
A return to normal also means getting back into a daily routine.
No, that's Sharuk's plate. Go and change before you eat.
I'm 9 years old and I've been here for a year now. I like playing on the swings, and I like television, and I love waking up to go to school and learn.
These days, this little boy doesn't have trouble imagining his future. He wants to become a policeman, and he knows exactly the reason why.
That way I can rescue children who've been kidnapped.
Did you all learn the Abu Faiza song?
Yes.
Do you remember it all?
Yes.
Okay, we sing on 3. 1, 2, 3. The singing helps their behaviour. It helps them to work with one another and to remove any selfish tendencies they might have. I can express what's inside of me. That means that when I'm sad and I feel like crying, singing helps me to feel free.
Unlike a minority who grow up in foster homes, most of these children never get off the streets. Organisations like SAMU Social regularly work with children exactly like this. Once a month in Sheima's neighbourhood, this French NGO organises a day just for them. In order to protect the children's identities, the organisation asks that we not show their faces. But respecting the rules as part of a life in society is not always easy.
Come here, I want to speak to you.
What is it?
It's nothing, but I don't like it when someone makes me play like they want.
Dr. Yusuf and his team teach the children how to manage their daily life, to wash themselves, to wear clean clothes. These are the little victories which help them feel alive.
They want to feel alive in their own body, a body which has survived. That's why we organise this day for them, at their own request.
Another important part of the day, a puppet show.
Come on, let's go, let's go.
Today, Sheima and a homeless boy play out their daily life on the stage.
أنا عايز جنيه أكل بيه بس. أنت عايز جنيه ولا عايز تسرق مني البوك؟ أنا مش حرام وأنا عايز جنيه بس.
واصحابي قعدنا اتكلمنا فيها وهم نصحوني ان انا ارجع البيت.
At the end of the story, we have a message to tell them that it's better to return back home, but we let them to discover that by themselves, and they advise the caravan to return back to home.
This advice is rarely followed by these children, as the street increasingly becomes their home. As a result, SAMU Social visits them several times a week.
We carry medication for emergencies and for dressing wounds. We also have betadine and surgical spirit.
For the past 8 years, this French NGO has been organising care runs targeting Cairo street children.
Hello, Rasha. How are you? Okay, we're going to apply a bandage here as you've bent your shoes like this.
Stop, stop, it was already bleeding.
SAMU Social has cared for almost 1,500 minors. This little boy is 10 years old and has just arrived on the streets.
The most important thing right now is that you stop smoking. It's bad for your lungs. Why does your brother hit you? You do bad things, so he hits you. Is that it?
No, I didn't even leave the house. I didn't do anything. He keeps me inside and hits me.
Does your brother smoke and take drugs?
Yes.
I asked him if he had a good relationship with his dad. He told me yes, but he still has no idea where he is. He's a baker. The boy has 12 uncles. I told him to find one. Eventually he found one of them in Fayoum. So we'll try to get his father's details so we can find his dad once more.
2.7 million children are born in Egypt each year. Human rights organisations worry about this overpopulated country, which is slipping deeper into economic crisis. They worry that with many families increasingly vulnerable, more and more children will end up on the street.
Our reporter Nadia Bletri is with us. Nadia, thank you very much for your report. A professor suggesting the extermination, killing these street children, it just seems inhuman. Was this an actual serious proposition that he was coming out with? And I wonder how other people reacted on hearing that.
Knowing if it's a serious suggestion or not, it's hard to say. Certainly, it's a shocking thing to say. However, it is true that these street kids are very badly perceived in Egypt. We were stopped several times while we were filming by ordinary passers-by who stopped Shaima, the main person in the report. They insulted her, they attacked her, saying, "Why did you let them film you? You're giving a really bad impression of Egypt." We saw children beaten, being called thieves and so on. So it's certainly true that not only do they have difficult lives, they're really not perceived well by the population at large.
It's shocking indeed, and we saw that in your report, Nadia. Egypt seems to have no solution. Second generation, third generation street children, it's unimaginable in many ways. But you found at least one hostel trying to help them. Are there any other people, any other organisations trying to help these children?
The main groups trying to help these children are local or international NGOs, like the one that we filmed in the report, while the state has for the longest time been absent in this area. It's really only recently, in April in fact, it wasn't the case when we began filming the report, that they started cruising the streets of Cairo. Of course, they had to be trained by these NGOs, but they started getting out into the field a bit and meeting these kids on their own turf. It really is early days. We know the authorities want to get this started up in around 10 governorates. But for now, it really is the NGOs which are supporting these children.
Nadia, the Arab Spring, which of course began in Egypt, promised great things and we saw change, but it now seems that the country's back where it started. And I wonder what it means for the likes of these street children who perhaps experience no change at all. What does the future hold for these kids realistically?
To answer that, you have to go back and look at the situation for Egypt as a whole. The country is currently in difficulty from the financial crisis it's not coming out of. The inflation rate has been around 30% for several months now. There's been another rise in fuel prices which could worsen that inflation, and poverty. It's an aggravating factor, and not the only one for street kids, given the mistreatment and domestic violence to which they're submitted. So the worrying economic situation could easily make things worse for them.
Nadia, in terms of the day-to-day existence on the streets of Cairo, how are these children living? Obviously they're begging, obviously they're trying to find whatever they possibly can. But is it a question of having to beg and steal? Is anybody providing any help, any realistic help in terms of food, for instance?
Well, to give you an example, the NGOs like the one we followed in the report are focused on helping in terms of care and distributing things like blankets in winter and things to eat and drink. And of course, there's a certain number of day centres which can take them in for short periods. It really is local structures like that which may not have a lot in terms of resources, but still help however they can.
Comme il peut, as they can. Nadia, thank you very much indeed for your film. Thank you for your analysis. Nadia Bletrida joining us from Cairo. And you, of course, can see Nadia's report again via our website, france24.com. Thank you very much for watching this programme. This is Reporters on France 24. Stay with us.